وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. أما بعد أحبتي في الله, my dear brothers and sisters, we continue to discover the themes of the Quran and the theme of each surah. And today's surah, Surah Al-Mu'minun. In this chapter, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala highlighted about the character of the believers and their description, the description of the true believers. And there's a comparison between their character and the character of those against them. And that was mentioned to assess yourself and to see your level. Each surah speaks to you directly and changing something inside you or around you and give you a new dimension, a new perspective. And imagine if you interact with each surah with that positive way, how the Quran will be a means of positive change in your life. So this surah tells you where you are standing among those true believers. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala began by saying, قَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ الَّذِينَ هُمْ فِي صَلَاتِهِمْ خَاشِعُونَ. So Allah is giving description for those. And it's amazing, at the end of that description, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْوَارِثُونَ الَّذِينَ يَرِثُونَ الْفِرْدَوْسَ هُمْ فِيهَا خَالِدُونَ. To those, they are the inheritance. When you hear the word that somebody inherited something, that means he get it after somebody else. So that we assume like somebody died, and then his family, his relative, they might receive something from him. So the believers, what are they gonna inherit? These are the ones who will be here and translated as awarded, but actually it's inherited, because the Prophet said, "ما منكم من أحد إلا وله منزلان." منزل في الجنة ومنزل في النار فإذا مات الرجل فدخل النار ورث أهل الجنة منزله في الجنة. He said, each one of you has two places that are waiting for him. One place in the hellfire and the other in paradise. So hellfire can fit for all and paradise can fit for all. And he said, the Prophet, if the person died and he entered hellfire, the people of Jannah will inherit his place in Jannah. Yes. So there are two people. There are people, they will inherit the places in the hellfire. Others will inherit the places in Jannah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us among those. They're going to be among al-warithun alladhina yarithuna al-firdaus. هم فيها خالدون. And Firdaus, it's one of the highest places in Jannah, not the highest place. The highest place in Jannah, اللهم آتي سيدنا محمد فضيلته إيه وصير والمقام المحمود. The مقام محمود, that's the highest place, and that's for our beloved Muhammad صلى الله عليه وسلم. And that's the top of the Firdaus. And when you ask in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, do not just ask to enter Jannah. If somebody has an exam and he said, you know what, I'm looking just to pass, he might not pass. But if somebody says, I'm looking to pass with merit, with excellence, he might not get it, but at least he will pass. So we should really aim high. And there's an expression that's in English, it's shoot to the moon. If you miss, at least you land among the stars. It doesn't make sense for me anyway, because if you miss the moon, you're not going to even reach the stars, because the stars is beyond that. But that's how they say. Meaning, you raise the bar high. And these surah tells you this. And actually, the surah goes further. We're describing another set of characteristics of those are higher in faith. In verses number 57 and the following one, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, إن الذين هم من خشية ربهم مشفقون والذين هم بآيات ربهم يؤمنون والذين هم بربهم لا يشركون والذين يؤتون ما آتوا وقلوبهم وجلة أنهم إلى ربهم راجعون أولئك يسارعون في الخيرات وهم لها سابقون. So Allah spoken about the sabiqun, those are higher level. It's not only just during the ibadah they have a presence of the heart. All the time they have a presence of heart. من خشية ربهم مشفقون. And those, they do the action and still their heart's terrified. It was accepted or not. والذين يؤتون ما آتوا وقلوبهم وجلة. That's a higher level. So the ayat introduced to you other groups and tells you, if you are shifting from that, what you are going to expect it. What you are going to expect. And it's amazing, surah make you having special connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and describing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with beautiful ways. For example, tells you قل لمن ما في السماوات والأرض قل لمن الأرض ومن فيها إن كنتم تعلمون سيقولون لله قل أفلا تذكرون. And then it goes another level and questioning you. بل أتيناهم بالحق وإنهم لكاذبون. And give you the logic understanding to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as if you are seeing Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. The ayat had the logical ending. We're talking about the two groups. At the end, some of them, they will go to that end according to their action in this life. And the other one will go to the other end where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, فَمَنْ ثَقُلَتْ مَوَازِينُهُ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُفْلِحُونَ ومن خفت موازينه فأولئك الذين خسروا أنفسهم في جهنم خالدون. The surah started by saying قد أفلح المؤمنون and ended by saying إنه لا يفلح الكافرون. As Allah wrote the success for the believers, those disbelievers in the contrary from that. إنه لا يفلح الكافرون. And the last verse in the surah, that going back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and asking dua. وَقُلْ رَبِّ اغْفِرْ وَارْحَمْ وَأَنْتَ خَيْرُ الرَّاحِمِينَ. You making dua, asking Allah for forgiveness. You know why? Because even whatever you try, we are not perfect. We are going to make mistakes. But that's fine. Do not worry. It's in the hadith. If you are not making faults and mistakes and asking Allah for forgiveness, Allah will take you away and bring others that make mistakes and ask for forgiveness. It doesn't mean that we wish that to make mistakes. No, but that's part of us as a human. We are not perfect. So, as a sign of the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and seeking that perfection, asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for forgiveness. It's a beautiful surah. I advise you all, inshallah, to go and reflect upon that and read it as if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaking to you directly. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned the story of our creation, how it was created, to tell us we created for a purpose. We're not here just to waste our time. And that at the beginning, at the end, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, أَفَحَسِبْتُمْ أَنَّمَا خَلَقْنَاكُمْ عَبَثًا وَأَنَّكُمْ إِلَيْنَا لَا تُرْجَعُونَ. So it told us how we started, and then how the end will be. And in this surah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned the story of Prophet Noor. And that's actually one of the a great example for a great believer. Noor alayhi salam, he's a special man, and we learn a lot from his story in how he faces all a struggle, and that struggle built him or made him who you are. And there are conversation that was not even mentioned in any other surah except this surah between him and his people. And Allah, following that, mentioned even and referred to some of the stories related to Musa and Harun, and story related to Isa alayhi salam. It just give you a reminder to remember those people Allah loves, and their life was not that easy. And Allah concluded that by saying, وَإِنَّ هَذِهِ أُمَّتُكُمْ أُمَّةً وَاحِدَةً وَأَنَا رَبُّكُمْ فَاتَّقُونَ. There are lessons in every verse. However, understanding the main subject, it will be helpful to connect verses together and to see the flow of that. I'm not sure if we still have time to other surah or we can stop at this. The other surah a little bit longer. We want to talk more about it. So we'll leave it for tomorrow, inshallah. We'll talk about the next surah, Surah An-Noor. And it's obvious, you know why this surah now named after Surah Al-Mu'minun. It's a clear, giving you the checklist where you are standing. Yes. So let you know with that checklist, how many characters first. There is a 7 character where you are in there, and there is another characters in there. So have your pen and follow that checklist. That's having a self-assessment and self-accountability. And that's what we should do. حاسبوا أنفسكم قبل أن تحاسبوا وزنوا أعمالكم قبل أن توزن عليكم. Count yourself and make accountability for yourself, because you'll be held accountable, and weight your deed before your deed will wait either for you or against you. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive us, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive our shortcoming, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive our ignorance, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bring us around our beloved Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. اللهم متعنا بالنظر إلى وجهك الكريم ورفقة سيد المرسلين. آمين. سبحانك اللهم بحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.